What's up, coders? Today is a good day, nay, a great day. You know why? Because today is the day we start a brand new series. That series is the Data Dashboard series. We are going to build the UI for a data dashboard with Next.js, Material, and Typescript, amongst many other libraries and technologies. But those three are going to be the core for this platform. Now, why are we choosing those technologies? Well, it's a no-brainer for Next.js. Next.js is essentially cannibalizing the React landscape. It's used everywhere. Most people are switching to server-side rendering. A lot of people are going to be using Next.js for enterprise level work or work that you generally are going to get paid for. There are a lot of great server-side technology frameworks out there, but this is probably the one that gets the most mass adoption. There's others out there as well, but this is the one we'll be focusing on. The other is TypeScript, which of course comes without no doubt. TypeScript is pretty much used in most front-end systems. You'd be hard-pressed to not find it. Obviously, there are people out there who don't use it, but we are going to be using it, and it is one that will be a really good transferable skill. And last but not least is MUI, which is Material UI, which comes from Google's Material Design System. Now, Material's design system is very distinct and very easy to tell, but also they give you the tools to build amazing design systems, amazing component libraries, which are the same thing essentially, amazing UIs that look fantastic, and you can customize to look even more epic. Now, some of the biggest websites in the world use Material UI, and they're so distinct from one another, you probably couldn't even tell. But now we ask the question, why are we building a data dashboard? Well, data dashboards are used everywhere. And as a front-end developer, or even a designer, you're going to come up against dashboards. These are things that are going to be your bread and butter for creating front-end work. At some point or another, you're probably going to work on a data dashboard of some kind, whether it's for checking finances, for checking performance of hardware, or checking something else that requires real-time data. So who is this course really for? Well, it's great for beginners who are looking to add something to their portfolio that is a strong centerpiece to show this is how I can build a really strong front end and UI for a dashboard, which could be really handy for the company that you're applying for. It could be really good for an existing company you're in that you want to show them, we should probably use these technologies to build this dashboard because I've already gone ahead and built one myself. And you can show them this demo that we build. Or there could be a multitude of reasons. It could be just to add to your portfolio or something that you want to learn. So if you want to learn how the dashboards are built and all the considerations, the accessibility, the way routing works, the way authentication works, all these things, then this is the one to watch. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and follow along as we go through these videos. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to do some setup now, and we're going to get the project and ready to go. And we're going to build some simple routes and some pages and components to get started. So let's go take a look. So I know we've spoken about data dashboards, but what actually are they? For those who don't know, this is what a data dashboard really looks like. You've got information available in an easy to digest way, generally with a good UX, unless you use AWS, and that is one of the worst dashboards of all time. But in contrast, this is a very simplistic, nice and easy to use dashboard. It's all very spaced out, and it's got good UX. So this is some cards, some graphs with nice animations, and it's got some tables. It's got separate pages as well, some admin type stuff, so you can manage users, you can search through companies, you can edit your own account. And yeah, this is the type of thing that is in a dashboard. And albeit this is a very simplistic dashboard, because dashboards can get very complicated. So this is an example of a 404 page, then a login as well, which we'll need. So you can see there's a header, side menu, and then the core dashboard in the center. So these are the types of things we're going to be building. We won't be using a design, but we will be building this in a similar way that uses these types of components like side menus, headers, and charts and things like that. But we are going to be building it to a high spec. We're going to be building the UI with accessibility in mind, UX in mind, and themeability. And we're also going to build it in a way that somebody can come in and edit this and turn this into a professional project if need be. That's kind of the bar that we've set for ourselves to work on this project and our expectations. If you were interested in this particular demo, just to have a look at it, go check out DVS on GitHub, the DVS.io-io. And this is that particular project. I'll leave the link in the description. So the technologies we'll be using are Material UI, and this is a design system. So if we go to Material UI and MUI core, this is coming from the material design system. And the way design systems work is they work on a component level. So if I show you, like, we'll go have a look at the button. So these buttons here are a part of the material design system, and design systems can only function if they are served by component libraries. So one can't really live without the other, but a component library is essentially a way for a design system to be served to the users. There are different parts to it. There's obviously the designs of the design system, which Material actually gives to you for free. So Material has this Figma file with all the designs on it, and essentially what you do is you take that file and you can just rejig it, redesign it, and make it fit your own style. And there you go. You've got a design system all ready to go with a component library that's accessible. It's amazing. This is why Material UI, Material Design are so huge, and it's great as a skill to learn if you're learning front end, or if you're looking for another skill to learn and another library to put in your tool belt. So Material UI is a really good one that we'll be using. And the other really good one is Next.js. So we'll be using Next.js to be the core front-end framework for this. This is going to be a UI demo and project, so we won't really be tying in it into the data layer too heavily. This is one that can scale with the project. So if you ever decided to tie it into the backend and give it something that isn't mocked data, then this would be really good. And obviously the final one is TypeScript. So we'll be using TypeScript to type our project. So we'll make sure that we've got end-to-end type safety. And we'll probably be introducing more libraries and more technologies to help support TypeScript as we go along. But for now, this will be the core part of it. So TypeScript, Next.js, and Material UI. Now, the next stage is we're going to start building our scaffolding for the project and start building some of our routes and pages and installing these technologies. So like all good projects, we're going to start in the terminal, and we're going to set up the scaffolding for the project by installing Next.js and MUI. We're also going to include TypeScript with our next installation, and I'll show you how to do that just now. But before we do, we need to make sure that we've got the correct version of Node installed. So let's just double check. So we've got 12.18. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Node Version Manager to grab 16. So just so we're fairly nearer to LTS, or the latest version of Node. NVM, or Node Version Manager, if you haven't used it before, is an excellent way of switching between different Node versions and being able to use the right one for each project. Because not every project has LTS as the accepted Node version. And generally, if you go into the package.json, you can see what Node version that they want if it's stated. But yeah, NVM, definitely a good one to grab. So now we've got version 16 of Node. Let's install Next.js. So let's go to the Next.js website, and we'll go to the docs, and we'll get going with the TypeScript version of the installation. So we'll use the npx command to create a project within our sites folder. So in here, we'll just paste that in. and we're going to name the project. Now, naming the project is actually going to be the folder name that it's going to create. So we're going to call it Data Dashboard. Obviously, Curious by Data Dashboard. We would like ESLint, and I would like to use the source directory, and I would not want to use the app directory right now. And yes, that seems happy. So the import alias is essentially how we're going to import things within the project, so assets within the project. So like components, for example, you won't need the full directory or path in the import, and you can simply just use this alias and that should work fine. If you're using WebStorm or VS Code, it should automatically do that for you when you add an import statement. Right, so as that's installing, let's go grab what we need for installing MUI after. So we're going to go to MUI's page and go to the front and just copy that. Go back to our terminal and install that. So we'll be installing Material UI, and we're going to be installing Emotion React, which is essentially the CSS in JS engine that runs MUI. So MUI is basically using CSS in JS under the hood to style it with inline styling, and Emotion Styled is essentially the CSS in JS solution that Emotion uses. It's very similar to style components in the fact that it's actually named after style components. And yeah, so if you like style components, this is a great way of using Material UI, and it all comes packaged with it. You don't have to use that. You can use another solution like Sass or whatever you'd be comfortable with, but we'll take all of that on board. So we've got that installed, so let's go to the folder. Cool, and we're in. So we're now in the data dashboard, and let's run the project. So npm run dev, and there we go, project installed. So we pretty much have everything we need to get started. So let's get into it. So right now, this is our demo page, but what we want to do is get our dashboard essentials set up. So core components, pages and routes all set up, ready to start working on. So let's go back to WebStorm. And we can see we've got the index.file, which is the demo that you saw there. That's in the pages folder. So open that. We'll keep the header the same for now. But within here, we'll just start closing some of these folders. Closing some of these divs, sorry. And just collapsing them. We'll delete all of that because we don't need that right now. What is the description? So we want to say data dashboard as the description, and yeah, we'll just call it CV data. Let's call it data dashboard, and then we'll go delete this next image. Delete inter. We don't need that anymore. Let's go take a look. Yeah, so that's all blank now. So that's our blank canvas to get started. It's currently black, but that's fine. I prefer a dark layout to get started anyway. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add the dashboard page. So let's go here and we will create the dashboard page. And if you're using VS Code or WebStorm, you can pretty much create folders when you create a file. So you can see I've created the dashboard folder, and now I'm creating the dashboard file. So we will do it as a TSX file. So if we do const dashboard, oops, return, and we'll just do h1 dashboard for now. And we'll do export default dashboard. Make sure to import React. Get rid of that. Brilliant. We're going to go to index here. Make sure we put dashboard in here. And then there we go. We can see that on the main page. And if we go to /dashboard, obviously, so it had an error there. So we just need to rename this to index.tx. because it does need an index file to read to. And then if we go back, and if we go back to dashboard, there we go. So we can go to the dashboard page now. We need to just create a few more pages. So let's go back, copy and paste this, and we will create a login page with the index.tsx. Paste that, and we will have login. We will create components for these later. Change this to dashboard. Right, so let's go to login, and the login is working, and let's go back to dashboard, and dashboard's working. Cool. So let's go here. Now there is another way we can do this. We could do it where we create the component within the file, the page component. So we could do this essentially. So we create login.tsx, take this, copy and paste it, paste that into here, and we'll rename this index.tsx to a TS file. And we'll just rename this to, there we go. And then all we do is we just go default from login. So this creates a index page for Next.js to essentially read it, because Next.js is going into this folder here, login, and looking in the root folder. What it's not trying to do is going to login and then look for login here, the component again. So this makes sure that at the default root of the folder that it tells it and points it to the component folder. So we'll put login test just to see if it worked, and we'll go whoops, login, and there you go. Now it's connected to the page component. So if we go back, go here, and we can do the same for dashboard. So we'll create a dashboard page, and we will refactor this to a TS file. Grab this, pull it out, and export default. Cool, and then we'll go check that out. And if we go to the home page, it should show us just the dashboard. So let's go to the index file. Now in this index file, we're going to need a header and a side menu. So we're going to add those components now, and that should be the basic starting point for this project really. So we'll close these here. We'll go here and we'll create a component. So we'll create a components folder, and we will have header.tsx. So that's gone and created the components folder and the header folder with the header.tsx. And we'll just create an index file to use the root from here. We probably won't need this because of Next.js's component export aliases, which we saw at the start. So we can just use the alias structure to get around this. But I also just like to have it in general, as just knowing that when we refer to the folder, we are pointing any reference to the folder to the component straight away. So it's just a best practice I like to do. So from default, we want to say header.tsx is where we want everything in this folder to point to. Let's go grab one of these pages here, and we'll just say header. Multiple H1s is causing me a bit of a twitch, but I won't feed it. Let's go to create a new component. So we will create a side menu component. Right, so in here, what we're going to do is just create an unordered list, and then what we're going to do is we are going to create a list item. We will create 3 of those, and let's go check that out. And we will have settings as the first option, and then we will have profile and the analytics page. Now, ideally, we probably want the analytics page up here, and actually we want the profile page probably higher up. Yeah, we'll use that for now. We'll add to it. We'll develop the list, but as a cool starting point, that's fine. So just rename this to side menu, and just make sure we add an index file. Brilliant. And let's go add these in. So we'll add the header. And you can see here it's using the alias import that Next.js uses here that we spoke about when we set up the project. And it's getting the header. And the next thing we want is the side menu. Cool. And that's auto imported that for us with WebStorm. Brilliant. So if we go to the main page, we can now see the header, the dashboard, and the side menu. None of it's arranged yet. We will do that soon. But for now, this is our core setup. What we also want to do is we want to just set up a few subroutes quickly. So we'll go here and we'll set up some subroutes. So we'll set up settings, and we'll go settings.tsx. I'll just create another index file here. Make sure that we are pointing it to the settings component. And then what we want to do is we want to go to dashboard, just grab this quickly, go here, make sure this is set to settings, and settings. Cool. Right, that should be fine. So it's pointing to the settings file. So let's go test this out. So we want to go to dashboard, which works. And then we want to go to settings. And there we go. So we've got nested routes set up. We'll add a couple more. So we'll add profile. We will add an index file. Make sure that points to the profile page. Okay, that's been replaced. And then we just need to do one more analytics. Make sure the pointer index file is pointing to analytics, the component. Just make sure this all says analytics, and let's go test these out. So profile works great, and analytics, is it analytic? No, it's analytics. Is there anything here on the analytics page? Is this pointing to, that should be correct. Very odd. It does not like the analytics directory. So I suspect for some reason it just does not like that page name. So let's add analytics with another S. See if that works. It does not like the analytics page name. I don't know whether that's a reserved word or not. I don't know if anybody in the description can let us know why that is the case. It did not like the analytics keyword in the root. Well, whatever the reason, it's working now. We'll probably have to change this to something else. What can we name this to? Let's just change this to data. Oh, that's a terrible name, isn't it? Naming things, it's always the worst. So let's just change this to data. And change this to data. Just make sure that's pointing to the right file. That's already renamed it for us. Thank you, WebStorm. Cool. Right. So let's try this instead. Hopefully data's not no, data's allowed. So Next.js has allowed data. So cool. And then let's go back to the main page. Brilliant. So we've got our header, we've got our side menu, we've got our main dashboard page. We also have our login page all sorted, which we probably should have checked out just to make sure that that works. Yes, login's working. So we've got our login, we've got our subroutes within the dashboard, which will be interesting because we'll be using URL parameters and all kinds of fun things. So if we click on bits of UI, it should remember that we've done that, and we should be able to monitor essentially what part of the dashboard they're using, and they can copy and paste that and send that to someone else if they want to. That's the idea. So that will be coming up. And there we go. So that's the core of the project setup. we have all the starter stuff in place. We've got all the technologies in place. The next step is authentication. So in the next video, we're going to kind of flesh out the components, the layouts and the routes and all that stuff a little bit more, and make a login page and sort out the authentication. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay notified of the next video as it drops. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at @thehashton as well if you want to find out when the next video is around about going to drop. But yeah, hope you're enjoying the course. Hope you're enjoying the topics. And to all of those who have joined us on this data dashboard course, let's have some fun, and I'll catch you in the next video.